Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli back with another review video. Yes, now we've come up to the second installment of none other than the Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2. Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The sequel everybody was excited for, even when, it was announced by James Gunn. Literally, just kind of shortly, a little bit later in the year after, after, say, Guardians, the first Guardians film came out. So in 2017, we got the second Guardians film. I remember when I saw it. I remember when I published a video about that. It was great. Me and my dad, we enjoyed this film without a doubt. I think, this being one of my, it's in my top 5 favorite MCU films, actually. Actually, Guardians 2 takes place literally the same year as the first one, although, of course, it takes place a few months later. The story: Peter Quill and his fellow Guardians are hired by a powerful alien race, the Sovergit? I don't know. I wish I knew how to pronounce that word, but I apologize. To protect their precious batteries from invaders, when it is discovered that Rocket has stolen the items they were sent to guard, the, golden aliens, that's basically what they are, dispatch their armored to search for vengeance. I hope I pronounced that word right. As the Guardians try to escape, the mystery of Peter's parentage is revealed. Yeah, I like how the movie opens because we see, and just like, say, in the first Guardians film, we see, of course, Earth, like in the 80s, but at this time, I believe it's around the early 70s, yeah. And we see, of course, we see Peter's young mother, Meredith Quill, played by Laura Haddock, once again, and Peter's father, Ego, played by the legendary actor Kurt Russell. So, yeah, him playing Peter's father, that's awesome. And of course, years later, we see, of course, the Guardians in action, Baby Groot, of course, and, of course, the Guardians, Peter Quill, Gamora, Drax, and Rocket. I will say, there was a lot given, not just to all of the Guardians, but definitely, say, Rocket Raccoon, I think, and I'm probably right. Even, say, Yondu, two things going on, later on in the film. First off, of course, them fighting off the monsters and this one creature that's, because they're protecting the batteries. And the opening credits, that's amazing. Mr. Blue Sky, it's hilarious too. Drax even going in, trying to kill it in the inside, but it, of course, doesn't work. And even say when the Golden Aliens, they capture Nebula, and, in exchange, they give Nebula to the Guardians. And, of course, they're being chased because Rocket stole the batteries. But with the help of Ego, he destroyed all the, mechanical ships. Because we see that, that the Golden Aliens, the aliens, they are back on their planet. They're remote controlling them like a video game. Literally, even when they destroyed, there's a game over kind of sound effect. And the personality of those aliens are great, when the last one gets destroyed and you suck, Zolak. Oh yeah, and even say when we come to Yondu, and he's not really considered a Ravager anymore after helping Peter. And one of the big main Ravengers being Starhawk, played by Sylvester Stallone. And he was good, and yeah, of course, we'll get more of him soon. Telling him that you may dress like us, but you'll never hear the horns, and the fireworks will never go off over your grave, or something like that. But of course, Yondu is given a mission, is hired by the aliens, and the leader, Ayesha, if I'm saying that name right, played by Elizabeth Debicki. I think I said the last name right. She gives Yondu a job, hires him to go after the Guardians. And even say when the Guardians crash land on this planet, uncharted planet, I guess you could say, and they come face to face with Ego, and alongside with Ego, and who would become a new member of the Guardians, Mantis, played by Pom Klementif. I think I said that right. Some funny moments with her, especially with her and Drax, that she has the ability to feel emotion, and even say when she feels, even it was in the trailer, she feels the emotion from Peter, feeling love and sexual love for Gamora, and Drax making fun of Peter, and do me, and she's laughing with Drax too and pointing at. It's hilarious. And even say when the Ravengers, they come in and are about to ambush Rocket, Groot, and Nebula. Nebula stayed behind with Rocket and Groot. That sequence where Rocket, well, he knew something was going to happen, and he set all those booby traps. Pretty cool, definitely. And yet, one of the Ravengers named Taserface, played by Chris Sullivan, I remember him best for being the voice of the Geico Camel. Guess what day it is? But of course, he's done more than just that. But I know him from that. I mean, he's done acting, of course, so but he was great as Taserface, but Taserface is taking this in a different direction. Unlike, say, what Yondu's supposed to do. Basically, Yondu wants to, of course, he wouldn't kill them, and even if they did, as he says, the whole dang Nova Corps be on our tail. That's true. It's like, is Taserface and some of the other Ravengers unaware of this? If they were to kill them, then the Nova Corps would be on their high tail, without a doubt. Of course, Yondu and some of the Ravengers that stay by his side, they are taken hostage or, by the Ravengers that are on Taserface's side. And of course, Rocket and Groot as well, and Nebula helps out those Ravengers, of Taserface. And it's really emotional. Some of the Ravengers that are on Yondu's side, they are being sucked out into space, dying, and especially Rocket kind of taunting Taserface. Baby Groot being kind of tortured, not in a horrible way, but, even say when they put him in that small jumpsuit. Some sequences like on Ego's planet, and Ego and Star-Lord trying to, father and son bonding. Mantis kind of slowly, but telling the truth on Ego and so on. And Ego talking all about himself, even when Drax asks him, "Do you have a penis?" And it's hilarious. And even when Ego says, "Yes, Drax, I've got a penis." Funny, definitely funny. And and even also, and just to kind of speed things up a little bit, eventually, Ego kind of shows Peter something, and Peter, just like his father, very powerful and so on, because Peter being half human, half alien, and what he is, like what his father is. And even at the beginning of the film, Ego showed Meredith something like an alien-like plant, and that it was going to be around the galaxy or something. And it's at that one point when Ego reveals to Peter that it broke his heart to put the tumor in Peter's mother's head. Ooh, yeah, that is mind-blowing. And, okay, I remember my parents and I having a conversation about this, that, well, since we knew that, since the first Guardians film, we knew that, Peter's father was an alien, and since he was an alien, he must have something to do with what happened to Peter's mother, becoming sick and dying, but we didn't know he'd take it that far. It's true. So, and of course, a fight a little bit later on between Peter and Ego. He even say when Ego at one point takes the form of David Hasselhoff, Knight Rider, basically. That's the thing, because Peter, when he was a kid, he would pretend and lie, saying that David Hasselhoff was his father. That's pretty funny. Even that David Hasselhoff makes an appearance. That's funny. Even when, say, the Golden Aliens, they at one point come back and they try to kill the Guardians, but, they are, of course, once again defeated. They found a way for Ego to destroy them once again. Did I forget to mention that the sequences with Rocket and Yondu, and the fact that, even at one point, this one sequence where Baby Groot's trying to help get Yondu a new fin, in his head to control the arrow because he whistles. It's a funny sequence, from getting a pair of underwear, a desk, literally, a mechanical eye, to a thumb. Oh my gosh. And that line that Rocket gives, "Tell me you guys have a refrigerator with a bunch of several human toes." Yondu just, "Okay, but let's never speak about this again," as Rocket says. Kraglin, who was kind of being silent and quiet, he of course does help Baby Groot, and he even mentions to them that his friends were killed, basically. Yeah, and it's great for Kraglin to still be on Yondu's side, and that sequence, that montage, well, I guess you could say montage, Yondu, using the fin and the arrow, killing those Ravengers. Even when Baby Groot attacked one Ravenger that was kind of was basically doing all the torturing to him, that was great. And that hyperspace sequence, they're jumping into hyperspace very fast, and their faces, hilarious. Even when, after they come out of hyperspace, Baby Groot vomits. Oh, and Stan Lee's cameo, by the way. And there's a theory that he's this one character, and who's been appearing throughout the entire list of Marvel films since Iron Man, where he's this one character, and he was put on the mission of going to Earth by the Watchers. Yeah, I think so, the Watchers. So anyways, jumping back, of course, to, the fight between Peter and Ego, especially when, even, say they take a rock form, Ego makes a rock form of himself, and Peter, he makes a rock form of Pac-Man as they're charging. And very kind of emotional, because it seems at one point the Guardians are being defeated, and when Ego's got a hold of Peter, did I forget to mention Ego destroyed one of Peter's, musical tapes? Very heart-wrenching right there for Peter, because of his love for music and so on. But of course, Ego does get defeated, even when, say, Rocket and Groot planted a bomb in his brain, because literally, the planet is all Ego, and of course, Ego's eventually killed. The Guardians make their way out of there, even when, say, all that's left is Peter, but Yondu sacrifices himself to save Peter. And I especially love it right before Rocket and Groot, they fly up back to the ship, Rocket says for Groot, after what Groot says to Yondu, he says, "Welcome to the frickin' he says, "Welcome to the Guardians of the frickin' Galaxy." I think that's how it goes. And then Rocket says, "Only he didn't use frickin'." And again, Yondu's sacrifice, he saves Peter, and he's like, "He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy." And basically, Yondu was Peter's daddy all the time, and it was just heartbreaking when, Yondu, he was using the jetpack, and he used this one device that could, shield Peter from space. And it was just heartbreaking to see Yondu slowly dying out in space, and an emotional funeral for Yondu. And the Ravengers, they come in and they set off fireworks in honor of Yondu. And, Sylvester Stallone once again make an appearance, then Rams making an appearance as another Ravenger. Charlie 27, yeah. And also, what's her face from Star Trek Discovery? Michelle Yeoh, am I saying her name right? Who plays a Ravenger by the name of Aletta Ogord. I think that's right. Did I forget to mention? Howard the Duck made a cameo once again in this. And with what's-her-face? Molly C. Quinn? Yeah, from Castle. She made an appearance alongside with Howard. They're having a conversation. That was pretty funny. Especially the end credit scenes that go on, like Kraglin becoming the like having the fin this time and the arrow goes into Drax's neck, to seeing Baby Groot now Teen Groot, being kind of harsh on Peter, and Peter saying, "Now I know how Yondu felt." To the tease and reveal of Adam Warlock, because the Golden Aliens, they are now creating Adam Warlock to take on the Guardians of the Galaxy, and for it being a setup to the third film. Yeah. And of course, one last end credit scene with Stan Lee. Hey, good for Stan Lee. And him getting the last line of the film. Like, oh, geez, where are you guys going? Especially during the end credits, like this one song that plays that David Hasselhoff sings. I forget the name of the song already, but it's a pretty good, catchy song. I really like that song. And especially before the movie, right before the credits roll, I forgot to mention one last shot of Rocket Raccoon with a tear, coming down. That was great. And the Guardians will return, as it says. Well, aside from the third film, they would come back, of course, in the next two Avengers films. So, with all that being said, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it was great, without a doubt. I'm definitely giving this a 10 out of 10. One of my favorite MCU films, and as I said, for it being somewhere in my top 5 list of top 5, top 10 list, you could say, of MCU films. What about you guys? What did you think of Guardians Volume 2? Leave comments as always, and give this review video a like as always, and let me know what you thought of my review. So again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. More reviews coming your way. They're gonna be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video /review. Take care, and peace out.